Mara wiped her hands on her worn apron and looked over the dusty street of the colony. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a pale orange glow over the small, struggling settlement. The colony was far from the central planets on the edge of human space, where resources were scarce and every day was a fight to survive. Mara's son, Jace, tugged at her skirt, holding a small basket that had seen better days. His eyes were wide with hope, but Mara felt the familiar weight of worry pressing against her chest. The ration center had already closed for the day, and Mara knew they would have to survive another night on the few scraps she had left. She glanced at the empty shelves and thought about how she would explain to Jace that there was nothing to eat again. Her stomach tightened. She hated feeling helpless. She hated feeling that the universe was bigger than she could manage, that survival was a luxury and she barely had the means to meet it. "Mom," Jace whispered, Do you think we can find something? Just a little?" Mara bent down, smoothing his messy hair. "We will, little one. We always do, just maybe we need a little help tonight." She hesitated, knowing what she meant. The colony had its rumors, whispers about an alien trader who came every few months. Zevra. The stories were strange and sometimes frightening. He was said to trade anything for something unusual, sometimes favors, sometimes cleverness, and sometimes things no human would expect to give. But Mara was out of options. She had nothing to barter, no credits, no rare metals. And yet she had something else, something humans often underestimated: quick wit, charm, and the courage to face the unknown. The market district was quiet in the late evening. Shadows stretched long across cracked pavement and makeshift stalls. Most traders had packed up, but a faint glow came from the far end of the alley, a soft, iridescent light that seemed almost alive. Mara's heart thumped in her chest. She clutched Jace's hand and stepped forward. There he was, Zevra, taller than any human with shimmering skin that seemed to ripple like liquid light. His eyes were like polished crystals, reflecting the dim light of the market. He stood behind a small table covered in strange devices, rare food rations and containers that hummed softly. When he saw Mara, a slow smile spread across his face, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp, too precise, to belong to anything human. "Ah," Zevra said, his voice smooth and melodic, carrying an accent Mara could not place. "A human mother. How intriguing. What brings you to my little corner of the galaxy?" Mara swallowed her nervousness and lifted her chin. "I need provisions," she said simply. "For my son and me. We have almost nothing left. I heard you might be able to help." Zevra's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Perhaps I can. But nothing comes for free, little human. Not here, not anywhere." He gestured to the table. "I can offer you what you need. Food, supplies, even small comforts. But you must give something in return." Mara's stomach sank. She had nothing of value. No metals, no treasures, no resources. And yet she knew the rumors had been right. Zevra valued cleverness. "A test, a game, something to entertain him, I can give you stories," Mara said cautiously. "Or riddles, or clever tricks." Zevra laughed, a sound that made the hairs on the back of Mara's neck stand up. "Stories, tricks? Cleverness?" His voice danced like music. "Very well. Show me, little human. Let me see if your mind is worthy of my provisions." Mara took a deep breath and squared her shoulders. She had always been good at thinking quickly, at reading people, at finding a way through tight spots. And now it seemed she would need every ounce of her cunning. "What if I ask you a riddle?" she said. "And if you cannot solve it, you give me what I need?" Zevra tilted his head, his smile widening. "I accept, begin," Mara thought quickly. She needed something simple, clever, and engaging, something that would catch him off guard. "I am always ahead but never seen. I pass every moment but I leave no mark." "What am I?" Zevra paused, considering. His fingers hovered over a small device on the table, glowing faintly. "Time," he said finally. Mara nodded, impressed despite herself. "Correct. But the game has just begun." She leaned closer, lowering her voice to a conspiratorial whisper. "If you cannot answer the next, the provisions are mine." Zevra's laughter filled the alley. "You are bold. I like that. Proceed, human." Mara's heart raced, but she forced herself to smile. "I have keys but no doors. I have space but no room. I can enter you, but I never touch. What am I?" Zevra paused longer this time, eyes narrowing slightly, reflecting the dim market lights. His fingers tapped the table in a rhythmic pattern, like a silent drumbeat. Finally, he spoke. A keyboard. Mara's grin widened. Correct again. I see you are clever indeed, but perhaps the next one will challenge even you. Zevra's eyes gleamed, his amusement now mixed with interest. You are fearless, little human, very well. Another, and I promise you shall have the provisions if you stump me. Mara considered, then said, I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have nobody, but I come alive with wind. What am I? Zevra frowned slightly, this time genuinely considering. The glow from his devices pulsed softly as if sensing the tension. Minutes passed. Mara's palms were sweaty, but she held her gaze steady. Zevra finally shook his head, smiling faintly, and said, You have indeed challenged me. I concede. You shall have your provisions. Mara's relief was immense. Zevra reached beneath the table and produced a container filled with fresh, vibrant food, dried rations, and small tools that would help her and Jace survive the next few days. The glow from the items made her eyes widen. They were enough, not just to survive, but to live for a little while without fear. Thank you, Mara said, bowing slightly. Though part of her felt like she had won more than just food, she had won respect. A small victory in a universe that often seemed indifferent to human struggle. Zevra studied her with those piercing eyes. You are clever, resourceful, brave. The galaxy has not seen a human quite like you. Tell me, Mara, do you always lead in your own life or do you follow? Mara blinked. The question made her pause. She had always had to lead, her life, her son, their survival. She had little choice. I lead, she said finally with quiet certainty. For him, and for me. Always. Zevra's smile softened, just slightly, revealing a hint of admiration. Then perhaps you are more interesting than I first imagined. Keep that spark alive, little human. The universe has a way of noticing those who lead. Jace tugged at her hand, eyes shining. Mom, can we eat now? Mara chuckled, ruffling his hair. Yes, little one. Tonight we eat. She glanced back at Zevra, who was already retreating into the shadows, a figure of mystery and light. Something in her chest stirred, curiosity, hope. Perhaps a faint sense that this encounter was only the beginning of a larger story. As Mara and Jace walked back toward their home, the basket of provisions secure, Mara could not help but think about what Zevra had said. Lead. She had led them through scarcity, through fear, through endless uncertainty. But perhaps in a universe filled with strange beings and distant stars, she might be capable of leading something even greater. The night sky stretched above them, filled with unfamiliar constellations and the faint shimmer of distant planets. Mara held Jace close, feeling the warmth of his trust and the weight of her responsibility. She smiled softly to herself, thinking of the riddles, the laughter, and the strange alien who had tested her wit. Tomorrow, the struggle would continue, but tonight she had won. Tonight she had taken the lead, not just in survival, but in proving that humans, even on the edge of the galaxy, were clever, courageous, and not to be underestimated. And somewhere, in the shadows of the colony, Zevra watched. His eyes gleamed with curiosity and perhaps respect, as if noting the beginning of something unusual, a human who might change the way the galaxy saw them all. The next morning, Mara woke to the soft hum of her little home on the colony. Jace was already awake, his small hands moving quickly as he helped sort the fresh food and supplies Zevra had given them. The simple joy in his eyes warmed her heart, but Mara knew that this was only the calm before another day of struggle. She could not let herself be complacent, not when survival on the colony was always uncertain. Mara glanced at the glowing device Zevra had left among the provisions. It was small, almost delicate, with a light that shifted colors as if alive. She had no idea what it did, but she sensed it might be useful, perhaps even powerful. She tucked it into her satchel for later and began her daily chores. It was during the morning market that Mara saw Zevra again. He appeared at the edge of the crowd, moving with a quiet grace that seemed unnatural to human eyes. He watched her for a moment, then approached, his crystalline eyes fixed on her. You have survived the night, Zevra said, his voice calm and melodic. And yet your challenge yesterday was only the beginning. Are you prepared to take the next step? Mara raised an eyebrow. Next step? What do you mean? Zevra's gaze swept over the busy market. I mean that cleverness alone is not enough. Resourcefulness, bravery, and the ability to lead are what will earn you what you truly need. If you are willing, I have tasks for you. Small perhaps, but important. They will benefit not only you and your son, but the colony itself. Mara's heart skipped. Tasks, danger, opportunity. She thought of the colony's failing water systems, the rogue traders who took advantage of the weak, and the constant struggle for supplies. She had been managing all of it on her own, but the idea of having an ally, even an alien one, was tempting. "I will do it," she said, her voice steady. "For the colony, for Jace, for survival. What do you need me to do?" Zevra smiled faintly, a hint of approval in his eyes. "First, we start small. There is a malfunctioning water conduit on the north side of the settlement. It leaks constantly, wasting precious resources. I want you to find it, repair it as best you can, and ensure the colony's water lasts longer." Mara frowned. She was no engineer, but she had learned to fix what she could. "I can try," she said confidently. Zevra handed her a small toolkit, compact yet advanced beyond anything Mara had seen before. "Do not underestimate yourself, little human. Humans have a way of succeeding when all seems lost." With Jace reluctantly in tow, Mara made her way to the north side of the colony. The conduit was old and rusted, pipes twisted in ways that looked impossible to navigate. She knelt beside the leaking section, examining it carefully. Her hands worked quickly, twisting valves, patching cracks, and connecting joints with makeshift ingenuity. Every now and then she glanced at the alien tools, trying to understand their strange designs. Hours passed. Sweat dripped down her brow. Jace watched anxiously, offering help where he could, his small hands carrying tools or holding parts steady. Mara's heart swelled with pride. They were working together, surviving together. Finally, water flowed steadily through the conduit without a single drop lost. Mara leaned back, exhausted but triumphant. She had done it. She had repaired something far more complex than she imagined she could. As she walked back to the market with Jace, she found Zevra waiting. He studied the repaired conduit through some device in his hand, nodding slowly. "Impressive. You did not just survive, you led. You solved a problem humans thought impossible. I am impressed." Mara smiled, feeling a rare warmth. "It was nothing. Just a problem to solve." Zevra tilted his head. "Nothing? You risked hours of effort and your own energy for others. That is no small thing. That is leadership. That is courage." Mara's chest tightened. She had always acted out of necessity, out of survival. But hearing recognition from this alien, a being who had seen countless worlds, made her feel seen in a way she had never known. But Zevra's expression grew serious. "There is another task more delicate than the first. A group of rogue traders has been disrupting the colony's market. They take what they want, leaving the weakest to suffer. I want you to negotiate with them. Use your cleverness, your wit, your courage. Bring them to reason, or at least protect the colony from their schemes." Mara swallowed. Negotiation was one thing. Confrontation was another. But she remembered Zevra's words about leadership, about courage, about humans' potential. She nodded. "I will do it." The traders' encampment was small but well guarded. Mara approached carefully, keeping her voice steady, projecting confidence even as her heart pounded. The leader, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, sneered. "What's a human woman doing here? Come to beg?" Mara lifted her chin. "No, I came to talk. You take from the colony what you do not earn. That ends today," he laughed. "And what will you do about it, little mother?" Mara paused, thinking quickly. She could not fight them physically, but she could appeal to their pride, their sense of logic, and perhaps their fear of the unknown. "Do you want the colony to fight back? Or do you want a deal? I can offer supplies and trade if you agree to stop taking what is not yours. You leave the weakest alone and everyone benefits." Minutes passed in tense silence. Mara held her ground, refusing to let fear show. Finally, the scarred leader nodded reluctantly. "We will consider your offer, for now. But one wrong move and we take what we want." Mara exhaled, relief flooding her. She had survived another challenge, using only her intelligence, courage, and determination. She had led as she always did, even when the stakes were higher than she had thought possible. Returning to the market, Zevra awaited, his expression unreadable. When Mara recounted what had happened, he let out a low, approving hum. "You do more than survive. You protect, you lead, you negotiate. Humans may be underestimated, but you prove otherwise. You have a rare quality, Mara. Perhaps the galaxy will notice one day." Mara smiled faintly. "I just do what I have to. For my son. For survival." Zevra's eyes gleamed. Perhaps. But what you do is more than survival. It is courage. It is ingenuity. It is leadership. That is why I seek you out, human. You are rare. The day ended with Mara returning home, her basket filled with fresh supplies, her mind buzzing with thoughts of the challenges she had overcome. Jace hugged her tightly, his small body trembling with excitement and gratitude. Mom, you're amazing. We're safe. Mara laughed softly, brushing his hair back. We're safe for tonight, little one. And tomorrow we keep going. That's all we can do. Later, as she watched the stars shimmer over the colony, Mara thought about Zevra and his cryptic words. She realized that she was not just surviving for Jace, not just surviving for herself. She was learning, growing, and discovering strength she had not known she possessed. And somewhere in the shadows of the market district, Zevra observed her quietly. He was not just amused anymore. He was intrigued. This human, a simple mother from a poor colony, had shown brilliance, courage, and the spark of leadership. He wondered what she might achieve if given the chance to rise even further. Mara's life was still hard. Challenges would come, threats would emerge, and survival would always demand her attention. But now she knew something important. She could face the unknown, outsmart the clever, and lead when necessary. She was more than she had believed herself to be. The galaxy was wide, mysterious, and often dangerous, but Mara realized that humans had a strength others overlooked. Intelligence, courage, wit, and the willingness to fight for those you love. These were the true weapons of survival. And with Zevra's unexpected guidance, Mara began to see that the universe might not just be a place to endure. Perhaps it could also be a place to thrive, to show what humans were truly capable of, even on the edge of everything. That night, as Mara tucked Jace into bed, she felt a quiet sense of pride and anticipation. The day had been long, the challenges difficult, yet she had succeeded. She had led. She had survived. She had earned respect in ways she had never imagined possible. And deep down, she knew that the journey was only beginning. The universe held more tests, more mysteries, more challenges, and Mara would meet them all. For Jace, for the colony, and for herself, she would take the lead no matter the odds. The colony was quieter than usual that morning. Mara had noticed it as she stepped out of her small home, Jace bouncing lightly beside her, full of energy despite the early hour. The air smelled faintly of dust and metal. But there was something else too. A tension she could feel in the movement of people, the hurried whispers of traders, and the cautious eyes of those passing by. Zevra had left her with tasks the day before, and today he returned. But not alone. Behind him moved figures she had never seen, humans and aliens alike, some with weapons, some simply observing. Zevra's eyes met hers, and she felt the weight of a challenge she could not ignore. "You have led well, Mara," Zevra said, his voice low, carrying an intensity she had not heard before. "But leadership is tested not in routine but in crisis. Are you ready?" Mara straightened, gripping Jace's hand. "I am ready," she said firmly. She had survived hunger, repaired water systems, and negotiated with traders. She had led before, but the feeling of this impending test made her pulse quicken. Zevra gestured toward the colony's main supply hub. "A rival faction approaches. They are aliens different from me. They are not here to trade, not here to bargain. They seek to claim the market for themselves. You must protect your people and ensure the supplies remain safe." Mara's heart thumped. The supply hub was critical to the colony's survival. If the faction succeeded, weeks of provisions, tools, and essentials would be lost. She glanced at the small crowd of colonists gathering nervously. Their eyes looked to her, and for the first time Mara felt the true weight of responsibility, of leadership. She drew a deep breath. "We won't let them take what we've earned," she said, her voice carrying across the courtyard. "Everyone, follow my lead. Stay calm, stay safe, and do what I say. We survive together." The rival aliens appeared on the ridge above the settlement, their figures sharp and unfamiliar. They carried weapons unlike anything Mara had seen, long, sleek devices that hummed with energy. Zevra stepped beside her, silent but present, giving Mara a sense of calm amidst the tension. Mara quickly organized the colonists. Some were tasked with moving supplies to safer locations, others with setting up simple barriers using carts and crates. Mara herself carried a small communicator and a few defensive tools Zevra had provided. Her mind raced with possibilities. How to protect, how to outsmart, how to keep everyone safe without letting fear control them. The rival faction descended cautiously. Their leader, taller and broader than any human, raised a hand in what seemed a gesture of warning. Mara stepped forward, her voice steady. "We do not wish to fight if it can be avoided," she said. "These supplies are for survival. Take them and you risk more than you expect." The alien leader tilted his head. "And why should we listen to a human mother?" Mara met his gaze, unwavering. "Because we are clever. Because we are brave. And because underestimating humans is a mistake you will regret." She gestured to the colonists working together, moving swiftly and efficiently. "See what we can do when we lead, when we plan, when we fight. Not with hatred, but with intelligence." Zevra's presence beside her seemed to amplify her confidence. The alien leader studied her, then nodded slightly. He motioned to his companions, who paused, unsure how to proceed. Mara seized the moment. She used the small devices Zevra had given her, activating light pulses and subtle noises that disoriented the rivals, making them hesitate. She coordinated the colonists with quick hand signals, guiding them to strategic positions around the supply hub. Her voice carried instructions, encouragement, and calm, rallying the frightened and uncertain. Minutes passed like hours. Mara's mind raced, calculating risks, reading movements, and adjusting strategies on the fly. She felt her heartbeat steady, her fear replaced by clarity. She was leading, truly leading in a way she had never done before. Finally, the alien leader spoke, his tone cautious, but respectful. "You are not like the others. Humans are cleverer than we expected. Perhaps there is wisdom in your leadership." Mara held her ground, keeping her gaze steady. "Leadership is not about strength alone. It is about responsibility, courage, and the willingness to protect what matters." The rival faction withdrew slowly, leaving the supplies intact. The colonists erupted into cheers, their relief and gratitude filling the courtyard. Mara smiled faintly, though her body ached from tension and effort. She had led them through danger, through uncertainty, and they had survived together. Zevra stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You have proven it, Mara. You lead with more than courage. You lead with wisdom, with intelligence, and with heart. The galaxy sees humans as fragile, but you have shown them otherwise." Mara looked at him, a mixture of exhaustion and pride in her eyes. "I just did what needed to be done. For my son, for the colony." Zevra's eyes gleamed. "And in doing so, you have earned more than provisions. You have earned respect, trust, and proof that humans can rise to any challenge. I offer you a gift, something that will help you and Jace survive and thrive." From beneath his cloak, Zevra produced a small device, sleek and glowing. "This technology can sustain your farm, improve your water systems, and even help your colony store food safely. Use it wisely. It is a symbol of trust and acknowledgement of your capabilities." Mara took it, her hands trembling slightly. "Thank you, I don't know what to say." "Say only that you will continue to lead, continue to protect, and continue to grow stronger," Zevra said. "The galaxy is wide, Mara, and humans have potential that even we aliens cannot fully understand. Keep your courage alive." That evening, Mara and Jace sat together examining the new device. It hummed softly, lights dancing across its surface, offering hope, opportunity, and a chance to make life better. Mara felt a quiet pride. They had survived, yes, but they had also achieved something far greater. Proof that humans could lead, could protect, and could thrive even in the most difficult circumstances. Jace looked up at her, eyes shining. "Mom, do you think we can really do it? Can we really make life better here?" Mara smiled, her heart full. "Yes, little one, we can. Together we can survive and we can grow. And maybe, just maybe, we can show the universe what humans are truly capable of." Days passed and the colony began to stabilize. Water flowed steadily, food was protected, and the traders and residents alike saw Mara's leadership firsthand. She continued to manage the challenges, always learning, always growing, and always proving that humans were clever, resourceful, and strong, and somewhere beyond the stars. Zevra watched quietly, noting Mara's actions with interest. He knew that she had not only survived, but that she had begun to shape her own story, a story of courage, intelligence, and human potential. He wondered what the future held for Mara, for her son, and for the colony. The galaxy was vast, and humans, as he had learned, were not to be underestimated. Mara's nights were quiet now, filled with hope instead of fear. She watched the stars, thinking about the challenges she had overcome, the cleverness she had used, and the leadership she had shown. For the first time in a long time, she felt not just like a survivor, but like someone capable of shaping her destiny. The universe was wide, full of unknowns and dangers, but Mara knew she had the tools, the courage and the mind to meet them all. She had taken the lead, and she would continue to do so, not just for survival, but for thriving, for protecting those she loved, and for proving to herself and the galaxy that humans could shine even on the edge of everything. As she tucked Jason to bed that night, she whispered softly, "We are ready for tomorrow, little one. No matter what comes, we lead, together." And far above the colony, Zebra's figure shimmered briefly against the night sky before disappearing, leaving behind a sense of promise, a spark of hope, and the knowledge that humans, when clever, brave, and united, could achieve greatness even in a universe full of challenges. Mara closed her eyes, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of possibility. The journey was not over. It had only just begun. But she knew one thing with certainty: she would continue to take the lead no matter the odds, no matter the dangers, and no matter what the galaxy had yet to throw her way. And in that quiet certainty, she found strength, hope, and the beginnings of something far greater than